one of the most infamous and controversial bands in the world. W.A.S.P, the 40th Never Stops World Tour with special guest, Armored Saint. W.A.S.P live. Go to waspnation.com for tour details and tickets. W.A.S.P, feel the sting.
Welcome. I bid you welcome. John Clauser, Johnny Metal, the Metal Dad, coming to you from my music corner, and my fellow citizen of Babylon that's burning, my fellow man walking into the promised land and also into the fire. John the Music Nut, how you doing, brother?
I'm doing well, brother. How about you?
Man, this has been a week. Yeah, there's a famous saying that somebody told me about when I asked them what kind it's like if ever there was a week, this was one of them. And yeah, this has been a full week. Full disclosure to my W.A.S.P Wednesday viewers, I really want to say thank you. Like Eat Drugs First, Crimson. Let me think. I gotta get some of these. I want to get some of these names here, because you guys have been rocking the comments. Trevor. Gosh, there's so many. Crimson. Let's say I already said Crimson. Monty Gonzalez. Eat Drugs First again. Yeah, boy, Eat Drugs First, man. You went all in with this series, and I am so grateful for all the insights you put on this episode. But yeah, there are so many I'm sure I'm missing, and I apologize for not going back into the comments, but this has definitely been a week. I just wanted to say for all y'all, I have a great nephew right now. He's about 3.5 years old, and he has been dealing with a really rare form of cancer. So, and this week was kind of a big week for him. I don't want to go any further into that out of respect for the family's wishes, but he came out of it with good flying colors. So I'm hoping and praying he's doing great this weekend. So Sammy, I love you, kiddo. I hope next time I'm up, I get to see you. So now that I got that, I wanted to get that out of the way. But yeah, this has been a full week. It's just been a lot of stuff going on. But today, if anybody who's been following this series, you know by some of the song titles, we're riding into Babylon with the four horsemen of the apocalypse. Now, before I go into my story of where of this album with me, I'm going to go ahead and I want to give my little statistics, and then I'm going to turn it to my co-captain, let him do his thing with this. Released October 12th, 2009 on Demolition Records, as was his predecessor, Dominator. Let's see. Charts. Finland, number 31. Germany, number 61. UK Independence Album Charts, number 19. The Swedish charts, number 24. And the Swiss Album Charts, number 54. They made a video for Babylon's Burning, first official video we've seen from W.A.S.P in quite a while. So that was encouraging to see. This fairly well received by different publications. I'm looking at like Sleaze Rocks gave this a 4 out of 5. Metal Storm 9 out of 10. Krang wasn't too favorable on it, 2 out of 5 out of 5. Classic Rock looks like it was 8 out of 10. Blabbermouth 7.5 out of 10. And All Music like it was about 3.5 out of 5. So pretty decent reviews and so forth. So with that said, let's get into our thoughts about Babylon. John the Music Nut, take it away, my brother.
All right, thank you, my brother. This is very good. I've been listening to this album heavy all week, and I've been enjoying the heck out of it. Babylon is very good. This was released October 2009. We got Blackie on lead vocals, guitars, keyboards, and he produced this one again. We got Mike Duda on bass and vocals. We got Mike Dookie on drums, and we got Doug Blair on lead guitar. As for the songs themselves, I'll say one thing about this album. There is everything on here is pretty strong. I I don't think there's a knockout track like a Heaven's Hung in Black or a Damnation Angels, but everything is very good. You do got two covers on here. I'll get into that. Opening track is crazy. And when I listen to this song, the opening is a little bit like Wild Child, but but when it goes into the verses, it's a very driving rocker, not very atmospheric like Wild Child is. I listen to this great chorus on it, strong solo from Doug Blair. I listen to this. First thing I think is, you got to bring this song back into the live set. You should open with this. That's how I feel about this track. It is killer. Speaking of killer, let's get to the next track. Live to Die Another Day. I listened to this, and I think at another time, when AOR was playing so much great new artists and established artists making new music, you could have put this on AOR stations, and I think it would have done well. It's got a fantastic sing-along chorus. One of many songs where Mike Dookie is playing his ass off. His fills are so glorious on here. Wonderful, wonderful track. This is excellent. Another one you can bring back live. Babylon's Burning. It's got an intro similar to Restless Gypsy, and then it goes into this great galloping beat. Very strong track. And then the highlight for me on this is after Doug Blair's very good solo, they take it down, and Blackie does this menacing spoken word thing before they get back into the main theme of the song. Excellent track. When you read the lyrics on this album, and I'm sure John will get heavier into this than I will, he's talking about the references to the four horsemen of the apocalypse, but at the same time, he's talking about what's going on now, how things were very similar in 2009 than they were in 1989 with the Headless Children, as far as what was going on in the world, especially with our governments. So we'll go into that further. The next track is a cover of Deep Purple's Burn, and it is a killer version. Killer. The only thing you don't have on here is you don't have the back and forth vocals between David Coverdale and Glenn Hughes, but it's still a rip-roaring track. The keyboards are a little low in the mix on it compared to John Lord's on the original, but with the music on this album, this cover fits in like a glove. Excellent cover. Great cover of Burn here. Love it. Into the Fire is a little slower, more cerebral. Here the keyboards are more prominent. They're heavier in the mix, and it really works. This is a pretty good track. Another good breakdown in here, and you got a great chorus on this as well. Next track is Thunder Red. Now it gets driving again, just like those first four tracks. And this one, another one where the solos really work. Another great chorus on here. Seas of Fire might be the only song on the album that I don't think is it's good, but it's not as strong as the others, but it's still a good track. I mean, certainly not filler. I mean, it is very good. I love the get up part in the pre-chorus. That's a nice hook there. That's very good. Godless Run is the ballad. And what a ballad. This is very good. I love the call and response between Blackie's vocal and the guitars on this one. The keyboards get more dominant as the song goes on. Where I was talking about the call and response, when Blackie goes into the I cannot breathe no more, and then the guitar kicks in, and he goes sings that line again, and the guitar kicks in. It works splendidly. Excellent song. Promised Land is the cover that closes the album. Now, Chuck Berry wrote it. Now, you've heard me on here saying, oh, if it's two covers, it's a red flag. But here it works.
Yeah.
They sing in a lower, Blackie sings this in a lower register, more like Elvis. He tried to do it more like the Elvis version from 1973. This works very well. It's a great closer. I'm not really into the rock and roll closers from W.A.S.P. Like I was never really into rock and roll to death in particular, but this one I like. This would sound good closing a show. How would I rate it? Wow. Oh, and by the way, the production on here, I wouldn't say it's their best production, but it's still pretty solid. I will say that. This is hard. I gotta go at least to 8 on this. Yeah, let's stick with an 8 on this. I mean, I was thinking maybe 8.5. Let's stick with an 8 for now. I mean, which is still a very good rating.
That's respectable.
Very good latter-day W.A.S.P. I mean, this was the end of a long creative run for W.A.S.P. with the albums coming out every 2 years, throwing in some live albums as well, especially Double Live Assassins. Excuse me. Double Live Assassins is a killer. But these last few albums they did, I would say starting with Unholy Terror right through Babylon here, these are all definitely worth hearing. And if you really dig them, definitely worth owning. So that's my analysis on Babylon.
All right.
Dig it.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Good stuff.
Thank you.
Yeah. So with me, okay, so now I'm going to tell my full story about Babylon with me. Now, when I first heard about this album, it was I read a review for it. And I read a review for it in a magazine called Heaven's Metal. Okay. Now, for those of you out there, maybe some of you may have heard of Heaven's Metal magazine. Maybe you haven't. Heaven's Metal is a Christian metal magazine. Now it's like HM, and I think they do more hardcore music. I don't know really how much of that. I don't follow them much anymore, but mostly it's still Christian based, but it's mostly hardcore music and stuff like that. So they kind of got away from the straight heavy metal. But I saw this review for Babylon in this magazine, and I'm thinking, what's W.A.S.P doing in a Heaven's Metal magazine? Because, full disclosure, everybody, as I alluded to with the KFD episode, KFD was the darkest time in my life. And I came to a point in my life where I surrendered myself to, as Blackie said, he had, my own little Major Dan moment, I guess you could say. And, and I started going back to church, and I started, embracing my faith and embracing God and embracing Jesus. So that was where my journey started, was 1998. So I walked away from a lot of pretty much all the secular music and movies and different things like that. So as all of these albums were coming out, and I'd go into stores and I'd happen to see, I saw the Neon God albums, I saw the Dying for the Worlds, I saw the Unholy Terror. I'm thinking, the temptation was there, and I passed them by. It's like, no, I don't want to I'm not doing this. And I just kept seeing them coming out. But then when I saw Babylon and I read the review, I'm thinking, oh, really? Blackie, a Christian? What? So naturally, I had to get it. I think I actually just I didn't buy a hard copy. I think I just downloaded it from iTunes, and that's how I got it originally. And so that's where, so it was a 12-year drought of not following the band, that all of a sudden I'm back in the saddle again, as Aerosmith goes, and I'm right there, right back with them. So Crazy, the leadoff track, you gotta be crazy to say you love me. Um, this I take it back what I said in the last episode, that I thought this was like a little trilogy of songs, kind of along this in different kinds of themes. They musically, they all kind of have that same kind of feel. Like this has that a little bit of that feel of Mercy, a little bit. And we'll get into Scream for when we get into Golgotha. But for Crazy, you still have that kind of that wild child like little intro, that theme, but again, that driving thing. But I thought the themes were kind of more related to God. But this one, I think more Crazy is more about fame. You got it. If to say to Blackie, "Hey, I love you, Blackie," he probably look at you like you were crazy, because you don't really know. Nobody knows the real Blackie lost. Nobody knows the Steve Duran, or he probably, very few people probably really know the real Steve Duran. So when you get into that fame, you have no idea what these people are really like. And I think Crazy is leans in that subject matter. Strong song, great solos, great playing, great everything on this song. Live to Die Another Day. You know what struck me so much about this song? It was like Happy Blackie.
Yeah.
That's really kind of how Babylon in general feels for me. It's like Happy Blackie. It's not angry Shadow Man, charisma, revengeance, and Natural Born Killers. It's not that angry Blackie that we this vitriolic kind of ready to go and kick some tail. No, this is Happy Blackie. This is like, this is him talking about, again, there's a biblical picture being painted here, and that's really the best way I can really describe it, because, as Christians, we all believe that we're gonna live to die, live to die another day, but we basically, we are always dying to ourselves every day as it is. But there's going to be a day when, we'll die, but we're going to resurrect, and we'll be, that's how we believe, and that's what we believe in our hearts to know is what's going to happen in the days of Revelation, and when, and all those things that the Bible teaches. So that's where I'm going to, not to be preachy about that or anything like that, because I'm sure people are going to turn off to this. So anyway, Babylon's Burning, again, Revelations just written all over this song. The spoken word that you mentioned comes out of Revelations 13. He's doing a major study in the book of Revelations, and yes, there was a lot of things he's seeing at the time that was very evident in what you see in Revelations. There's lots of things to talk about there. Again, not going to get into that here, too much to unpack, but again, Babylon's Burning, another very strong song, very wonderful track. Burn from Deep Purple, again, I couldn't have said it better. It fits in so perfectly with the themes of this album. And Doug Blair and Mike, but the Mike duo and Blackie, all of them do a fantastic version. Yes. It would have been nice to have had some kind of a call response vocal, like you said, with Coverdale and Hughes, but you didn't get that. Of course, you wouldn't mind having some more John Lord kind of organ going on. Well, we still get a really tremendous version of the song. Probably one of the better, definitely one of the better W.A.S.P covers for sure.
Oh, yes.
Into the Fire. This is another one of those songs about that dangers of fame, and what you're willing to what you're willing to give for that fame, however much it is, whether it's, whether you want to be as famous as Michael Jackson, or whether you just want to know that you got your face on a YouTube video. Hi, Anyway, uh, but it's what you're willing to sacrifice and what you're willing to give. It's like how does it go? You gave into the fire. Don't blame it on me. Your devil's your desire now. No, ain't no shame on me. Get it, give into the fire. Get down on your knees. I don't want you to love me. Just give it all to me. There's this that lyrical idea. Again, this is the slower song, but this is no ballad by any stretch of the imagination. Blackie's delivery here is strong and very just powerful to go with the lyrics. Thunder Red, another galloping, really good song. Again, painting that revelation picture of the end times, of what happens, what is written to happen, when the sky starts falling and in the Thunder Red and all that. There's a lot of things going on here. Again, that whole revelation picture, but again, fantastic playing. Seas of Fire is actually that's actually one track I really dig. You imagine being in a festival show and they pulled that out. It's like yeah. I could see the crowd going, with their fists in the air to that beat. It's another revelation picture lyrically, but I think a very strong galloping song. Godless Run here is the full on ballad here. This I think really is Blackie saying, okay, guys, this is my faith journey. This is what I've come to believe. And as he says here, let's see. Long had I gone to be a slave to my eyes, lost at that cross to kneel. Amazing grace saved my life. To me, that's all it's all about. It's amazing grace. How sweet the sound, that saved a wretch like me. I mean, it's just that's just where he came to in his life at the time. There's a podcast out there called No Prize from God. It's about a 2, and he was actually a guest on this. This has probably been a few years ago, and it's like a 2-hour podcast with him and Blackie, and it's just Blackie he's not talking about W.A.S.P. I mean, if he is, it's because he's talking about the tour, but he's not talking about anything regarding the band. He's talking about, like, he would go to like Greece, and he would go to like Thessalonica, and he would sit on he would go to some of these areas, and he thinks, and he's just like, oh my gosh, I am where the Apostle Paul walked, and some of these, and he talks about some of these things, and it just was so revelatory to him. It was beautiful to listen to this as a person who professes Jesus as my savior. So I loved this, and I even played it for my wife, and even she wasn't bored by it, which I thought she'd be like wanting to climb out of the car. But I made her, I forced her to listen to it. But she really enjoyed it, and she saw how happy it made me, because this was somebody that I grew up idolizing, which, as he mentions in this song, in the songs and some of this, there's dangers to fame and idolizing people like that. So I get it now. But anyway, so Godless Run, another wonderful track. I love, just could have ended the CD well for me, but he throws Promised Land on there, and it's hokey, it's cheesy. Yes, hey, it even mentions Birmingham. All right. I never listened to the original. I never listened to the original Chuck Berry or Elvis version until this morning, this very day when we're taping this. That's the first times I've actually ever heard either version. So, but again, a cracker ender to the album. It kind of has that rock and roll to death, deal with the devil kind of feel to it, but there is something kind of fun about this one that I do like.
Right.
And so, the whole peanut butter and banana sandwiches at the end is always fun. It's always fun. So With that said, John the Music Nut, talk to us about the tours and where and how they were touring a little bit.
All right. Thank you, John. You brought it again, man, on your analysis. And what do you rank it?
Oh, where do I rank this? Gosh. At first I thought I was going to rank this a little lower than I anticipated, but I'm still going to go about an 8 with this one as well.
Okay.
Again, this is one of those ones where it's like the early albums. It's like an old friend to me,
Yeah.
and even though I don't partake in it as much as as much as when I first got it. Um, re-evaluating this one now, I'm like, yeah, this is just an old friend. I know this is going to sound corny, but I love the Happy Blackie on this one. To me, that's just great. So
Definitely.
so
Awesome. And that Happy Blackie, yeah. I mean, as soon as you said that, I was like, yeah, that it does. I mean, as
I
much
mean,
as go ahead, I'm sorry.
even songs like Seas of Fire or Thunder Red, and it just doesn't sound angry. It just
Right.
there's a pointedness to his vocals, but there's not that feel of anger behind it like you
Right.
did with a lot of the earlier stuff, which I also know I'm sure is going to probably why a lot of folks who watch this, and they're probably going to look at Babylon and that Christian album, yeah. And I can't wait for what they say about Golgotha, but yeah, this is where I know a lot of fans probably just shut off because they're like, they don't want to hear about that. They want the full of piss and vinegar Blackie of the early stuff or the KFD stuff or whatever, which but everybody's got to grow, everybody's got to mature, and that's where
Exactly.
he was, and that's just where he was. So yeah, happy black, the Happy Blackie episode.
There you go. Sings with a lot of joy, even when he's talking about darker things on this album. I mean, it's just a great listen. I mean, I really enjoy it. I mean, but I also enjoy the angrier stuff too. So I mean,
I
we
do
all have
too.
different sides
I
to
do.
us, you know. It's
I do
just
too.
he's an artist and he's showing you all sides of the man.
Yep.
When you listen to the catalog, I mean, you have to respect that. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
he's not just I want to be somebody or Wild Child. There are levels, you know. So great album though. I think one I think I'm going to visit more and give it a higher ranking down the road.
Yeah. I have got to figure out how I'm going to rank all these now. Is revisiting
Right.
all these albums. I'm like, my brain is like so confused now.
Yeah, yeah, I'm getting that way too. But anyway, with the tour, now W.A.S.P toured this album heavy and hard to the point where I really had to write a lot more notes than usual. I heard something there.
Sorry, sorry.
Okay, no problem.
You're
Okay,
good.
okay, cool. Thanks. I thought it was outside. So on this album, or I'm sorry, this tour, they came out with the Beast of Babylon tour. And that started October 11, 2009, and it ended on July 4th, 2010. Now, in 09, they hit Europe hard. I mean, the first place they played was Moscow, Russia. But
Ooh.
after that, and I don't list all the cities they played, but I'll I'll say I'll give you a ton of them here. Berlin, Nuremberg, Hamburg, Odense, Tampere, Oulu, Helsinki, Stockholm, Anamo, Oslo, Stavanger, Trondheim, Stavanger, Belgrade, Budapest, Prague, Athens, Bologna, Zurich, Vienna, Paris, Madrid, Sofia, Dublin, Norwich, Krakow, Leeds, London, Manchester. They hit Europe very hard. Took a break. Before we get into we go into what they do in 2010, we'll look at the songs here. Now, on this leg of the tour, The only song they played from Babylon, I hope I got these right, was Babylon is Burning. But they brought back Headless Children. And that makes sense because of the themes they're touching on here are similar to the themes they're touching on Headless Children. Although this is a much more joyous album, but they are talking about how things were similar at that time. If you read the liner notes, it really goes into this as well. They brought back Headless Children, and they also brought back Take Me Up and Heaven's Hung in Black. Heaven's Hung in Black was part of the encore. Please bring that back.
Yes, please.
Please bring that back. They also did a medley of Hellion into I Don't Need No Doctor into Scream Until You Like It. That had to be fun to see live.
Wow. Yeah.
That is awesome.
Yo, y'all in the comments, if you saw this tour,
yes,
please, I want to hear about it.
Absolutely, I do too. And, took a break, came back out 2010, hit the US. They take out Headless Children, but they put in Crazy. You gotta love that. I mean, as much as we love Headless Children, Crazy, please bring it back again.
Yep.
And they kept Headless, I'm sorry, Heaven's Hung in Black in the encore. So a lot of the same venues here. The Canyon in Agora Hills, California, 4th and B in San Diego, Mesa Theater in Grand Junction, Colorado, Hubby Bear North, and Lincolnshire, Illinois. They also played Jackson, Springfield, Virginia, Mulcahy's and Wantagh, the Chance in Poughkeepsie, New York, Starland Ballroom in Sayreville, New Jersey, Harpo's in Detroit, Michigan, Avalon Nightclub in Santa Clara, California, Key Club in Hollywood, California. And then they did 4 more dates, and they played in Buenos Aires, Sao Paulo, Brazil, Sweden Rock Festival, and Helsinki, Finland. They played a festival there as well. So, and then they take a little break, and then they do the Return to Babylon tour. And that was primarily Europe. And that started on July 9 of 2010. And this was nearly all of it was in Europe. And at that point, they take out Babylon is Burning, but they bring in Live to Die Another Day. And then there were some shows where they did Crazy, Live to Die Another Day, and Babylon is Burning.
Ooh.
I think more often than not, that's what they did, but they didn't play them all together. So they were eventually playing 3 songs from the first 3 tracks from this album on the tour. And that time they went back and they hit a lot of cities that I mentioned in 2009. So, but at this time they were huge in Europe at this point. I mean, relatively speaking, compared to the States and North America. And then in August 11, they went back out and played 16 more dates all in Europe. So, yes, they toured this album pretty heavy and, gave us a lot of usual suspects, but they mixed up with the set list as well. And things that definitely would love to hear again when they come back to the States later on this year. They'll be getting here in the summer. So certainly looking forward to that.
Yep. So I'm going to add a little stuff to your tour stuff here. So, so of course, now after the release of Babylon, this is when Blackie said he was never going to play Animal again. That didn't last long, did it?
Right.
But I think again, I appreciate why he brought it back. In this era of cancel culture. I think it was, censorship. Yeah, he was always a big, opponent of that. So I get that. So, and this is where you also start hearing the cleaner versions of Chainsaw Charlie. He changes that the harsh lyrical version to what you hear on Reidolized. Now, on the Beast of Babylon tour, these stories are probably well known by fans. Sorry for those who went to the Gramercy Theater in New York City. The band. So the reason for that was the band discovered the venue had been selling VIP meet and greet tickets for twice the amount of the general admission price, and the band then made the statement, "We will never charge a fan. We have never charged a fan for an autograph, and we will never charge any fans for an autograph." Yeah, and that didn't exactly last long with
That's
the
true.
VIPs, but
That's true.
but I think he was convinced differently on that. So anyway, the other cancellation happened in what's near my original hometown of Allentown, Pennsylvania, with the Crocodile Rock venue. The story here, though, was according to this is according to Wikipedia. So the venue wanted 50% of all of the band's profits, according to Blackie. That's the reason why he pulled out of that show. So there you go. I don't know. Again, don't know how true that all is, but that is the story from there. So I did not get to the W.A.S.P Nation in time to get a lot of thoughts from you all. However, my good friend Maria Grazia Ferri from Italy, she did get her version of Babylon in here. Blackie adores Elvis, and I think he got the inspiration by the Chuck Berry version, which of Promised Land referring to. To me, like I said, it's an amped up version of Chuck Berry's music sung in Elvis's voice, because I don't think, to me, the Elvis song doesn't sound anything like what W.A.S.P does here. Babylon Burning, absolute favorite song. Adores Into the Fire. Let's see. Okay, she says, sorry for what I'm about to say here. I hear inspiration of Michael Jackson's Give In to Me. Interesting. I'll have to check that song out. I don't know anything about that one. Crazy is also amazing, and I know it was written about all the people that cried about Michael Jackson's death in front of the Neverland Ranch. There's a story, and I believe it was told, I think it was on That Metal Show. I'm not sure on this, where Blackie was a guest, and he tells the story where he rode out to Neverland after Michael Jackson had passed away. And it was just like, this whole idea of fame, not everybody's well equipped to handle that kind of fame, and I think in Michael Jackson's case, it was probably pretty evident. He just couldn't be anywhere without something happening, where he'd just be mobbed. Some people just can't handle that. Blake Snow, he just says, I like Into the Fire. Phineas Valeras, I'm going to guess is how you say. So he basically says Elvis is the king of music. Blackie loves Elvis. Of course, we knew Promised Land before the exceptional cover by the boys did on BAP. So any Elvis fan, obviously, if they like W.A.S.P, they liked Elvis, they know about. They certainly know about that. Christy Gorman Diggins, been listening to Elvis my whole life. It was my dad's favorite musician. My husband, who is not a big W.A.S.P fan, said, especially with certain songs, asked me if Blackie's influence was Elvis. And he can hear that influence in them. So no surprise that he would cover an Elvis song, even if it was a cover originally. So I apologize, W.A.S.P Nation, for not getting more of your thoughts about this whole album in general, because I know like guys like Lee Jacob and a bunch of others, you guys have given me some gold with some of this stuff. So again, my apologies for getting this late. I promise I'll make up to you on that with Golgotha. So this lovely little album here next, that'll be the next one we talk about. So
no doubt.
So John, the Music Nut, any parting thoughts, anything you need to plug, or what we got cooking?
Oh yeah, I was just at the beginning, you were talking about people been following the series and leaving comments. I thought of a few more while we were talking here. Chris Wilde, thank you so much. Donna Hardman, Eric Robertson. I mean, you guys have always been putting on a lot of great thoughtful comments, and I'm very appreciative of all of your support. And as far as what I've been doing, well, before I talk about what I'm doing, go check out our friend Bicycle Legs' channel and watch the new episode. What was the time? John's on it, and
I'm on it. He called it Sugar Hits. So essentially, this is a show where albums that we loved when they first came out, but that sugar high that we got from it wore off, and we're just not as into anymore. Yeah, yeah.
I didn't catch the whole thing yet. I caught a lot of it, but very fun episode. I'm sure a lot of you can relate to what the panel's talking about here. They all have great picks, and they're all great guys. And that was an episode that John was part of. It just came out. And John and I were part of a show on Rock Daydream Nation with our friends Peter Kerr and Joe Becht, and we talked about what do we like more, David Lee Edelman Smile or Van Halen's 5150. So we filmed that Friday night, and that should be coming out pretty soon. And that one was a gas to do.
That was so much fun.
It was.
It was a lot of fun.
That was a lot of fun to do. Absolutely. But let's see. Doing a show. We're going to be filming a show Friday on Rock Daydream Nation. Peter Kerr and I are going to be talking about the Buzzcocks.
Oh, okay.
Punk band from the UK. One of the first punk bands that came around. They were excellent band. We're going to do our what we're going to do, like our 10 favorite songs. We're going to do it's going to be like a CD mix, a mixtape.
Okay.
Mixtape where Peter will have 5 songs and I'll have 5 songs, and neither one of us is going to tell the other what we do beforehand. So that should be fun. We're filming that one. It's coming Friday, and then after that, I'll have some more stuff lined up on Grant's Rock Warehouse, and I'll on the Contrarians and on Bicycle Legs, and of course here on My Music Corner.
Yep. Yeah, that Bicycle Leg show with the Sugar Hits. That was boy, the look on everybody's face when I pulled mine out. Oh my gosh. Yeah. I'll just leave it at that. I'm not. Yeah, you have to see it to believe it, because it's funny. It really was funny just watching everybody's expressions. It was it was gold. It was kind of like when I think we were talking about cover songs on Bicycle Legs one time. And no. Favorite album by a band that's a live album.
Right, okay.
And I had everybody thinking I was talking about Peter Frampton, and then all of a sudden I whip out Ted Nugent.
Oh, W.A.S.P Gonzo.
and I see Davey from Cinema Flicks and Musical Picks and Cinema Flicks. Davey's Musical Flicks and Cinema Picks. However, I never get that. Anyway, I saw him grimace in pain when I flashed up Ted Nugent, because it's Ted. You got to know what you're getting into with Ted Nugent, and he's always been a Motor City motor mouth all these years. Whether it's about what he talks about on that album, on that Double Live Gonzo's album, or what his political stuff and whatever, but anyway, just seeing the grimace on poor Davey's face, I was like, "Oh, I didn't expect that look." But anyway, yeah, it was kind of along the same lines with some of that, but with my pick. But yeah, it was strong. Friday I'm doing another with Peter Kerr, rock postcards. This is where he gives me an Australian, or in one case it was a New Zealand band. And I check them out, and I just give them my thoughts on them, and maybe why they didn't break big in America or whatever, because most of these I've never even heard of. But he gave me one that I liked quite a bit. So I was like, this is good. I was like, I won't give it away just yet. I gave him a more current band, actually a more known band. So And yeah, I won't give that away, but I think John might. So anyway, anyway, no. So and it's kind of our kind of reactions to the different bands. So that's so I give him like an American band. Usually I give him like an obscure like metal bladed band or a obscure band that I've heard of that I just for whatever reason the album just really connected with me. So anyway, so that's really all I've got up in the pike. I think we'll eventually be including the April Wine series with Grant in a couple weeks. I think that got pushed back a couple weeks now, so gives me a chance to get my ranking together for the ranking album, the April Wine ranking. And gosh, after that, and I know I'm supposed to do something with Peter on a defensive Ravens pack is back, but I don't know when that's coming up now. We don't know. We haven't rescheduled that. So other than that, whenever the North and South Rock and Metal Connection, whenever we get to do stuff again, we just did one on like our favorite metal album of all time. So Maiden and Metallica were the kings on that one, except for me, of course. Go figure. But
Geez, I wonder which one you chose.
Yeah, geez, I don't know. Yeah, go figure. But yeah, so but that's pretty much all I've got cooking. As we're recording this, I've had a friend message me about today was the kickoff of the Iron Maiden tour. And this is my Norwegian friend Paul, and he's seen the band like over 160 sometimes. He's going to 10 different shows on this European leg of the tour. But I always razz him because I saw the World Slavery Tour and he didn't.
Yep.
So I have that on him. So anyway, but the Iron Maiden Facebook page, y'all, they've been showing off the set in real time. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, if they bring that tour to the States, I am there. I am there. This is I think they finally listened to Judas Priest on this one with their set list. Finally, we're getting a different set list. We're about time, Iron Maiden.
Yeah.
Sorry, I don't mean to go off on a tangent, but so let's maybe for a W.A.S.P second leg of the North American tour, maybe change up some songs. Let's either make the set a little longer or something. But okay, but first, Blackie, please take care of your back.
Yes.
Please take care of that back. Get yourself healed. Get yourself fixed up. And go and destroy and hurt America because God knows it needs it. So with that, for my co-captain, John the Music Nut, who I am very appreciative to be doing this journey with, called W.A.S.P Wednesday. So all you guys out there watching, liking, sharing, subscribing, thank you all for tuning in. This is John Clauser, Johnny Metal, the Metal Dad, from my music corner on the bloody road to Golgotha. We'll see you next week.